Hi, I'm Lois and welcome to Mocha Studios, and today we're making the Lily Simple Tote Bag. These tote bags come in two versions, tall and wide. The pattern includes the cut-in templates, a detailed step-by-step written tutorial with colour photographs on how to make these pouches and a full supply list. I will include a link to purchase the pattern in the description box below the video. In this video, I'll be making the wide Lily Simple Tote Bag. Using the templates and cutting list provided in the pattern, cut out all of the pattern pieces in your chosen fabrics and apply interfacing to the wrong sides of both main body and exterior pieces. Fold your fabric in half and then align the place on fold edge of the paper template with the folded edge of your folded fabric. Once the fabric is cut out and opened up, like you would open a book, it will be the correct shape and size. Take your fabric strips and fold them in half lengthways, then press with an iron. Reopen, then fold the raw edges towards the centre crease created and press with the iron. Refold the whole thing in half lengthways and press again. You can pin the open sides together if you wish. Finally, top stitch both the long sides of the straps 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch away from the edge. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the bag a lovely finish. A trick to get a neat 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch seam allowance is to change needle position to the far right, then use the edge of your standard sewing foot as a guide by keeping it in line with the top edge of the bag as you sew it. Your straps are now complete. Use the Molko paper pattern to transfer the strap position marks onto both of the main body pieces, using a vanishing marker or chalk. Lay a set of straps onto each one using the marks you just made to get the placement correct. Adjust them so that they are overhanging the top edge of the main body piece by 1.5 centimetres or 5/8 of an inch, then pin them into place. Make sure that the straps are not twisted. Reset the needle position if changed, and lower the stitch length back down to 2 to 2.5. Sew both the straps onto the main body by sewing across the top, close to the edge. Lay one of your main body pieces right side up and place the other main body piece on top, wrong side up, so that both right sides of the fabrics are touching each other. Align all the edges, then pin the sides and bottom of the bag together, leaving the square areas of the corners. Stitch along the sides and the bottom of the bag. Do not sew the square areas of the corners. It is also very important to backstitch at the start and the end of each line of stitch to ensure your seams do not reopen later on. Once all of the seams are sewn, press them open with a hot iron. This will ensure that your corners and edges stay nice and flat and not bulky. Next, it's time to pay attention to those corners that give this bag its great shape. Pinch one of the square openings in the opposite direction so that it creates a corner shape, and make sure to align the seams. You will find this step much easier now that the seams have been pressed open. Pin the pinched corner closed. Then, repeat for the other corner. Stitch both corners with a 0.5 cm or 3/16 of an inch seam allowance. Make sure to backstitch at the start and the end of each line of stitch to ensure your seams do not reopen later on. Once both corners are sewn, your exterior bag should look like this. The exterior bag is now complete, so put this aside whilst we pay our attention to the lining. Create the internal slip pocket. Take your slip pocket piece and fold it in half lengthways. Press the fold with an iron. Take your slip pocket trimming piece and fold it in half lengthways. Press with an iron. Reopen, then fold the raw edges towards the centre crease, created and press with the iron. Refold the whole thing in half lengthways and press again. tuck the raw open edges of the pocket into the centre of the fold of your pocket, trimming and pin in place. So 2 lines of stitch across the pocket, trimming to secure it into place. I like to use a stitch length of 3 or 3.5 for this, as it gives the pocket a lovely finish. Take one of the lining fabric pieces and lay it down right side up. Use the Molko paper pattern to transfer the bottom slip pocket position marks onto one of the lining pieces using chalk or a vanishing marker. Pin the pocket right side up into place using the marks as a guide to get the correct positioning. You may notice that the pocket is slightly wider than it needs to be, but this is okay. Sew the pocket into place down the side edges and across the bottom fold. Using a ruler and a vanishing marker, chalk, or a tracing wheel, mark a vertical line straight down the middle of the pocket. Then mark 4 centimetres or 1.5 inches from each side edge. You want these side edge lines to be in line with the cut corners of the lining fabric, which prevents the pockets from bulging out too much when the bag is finished. Sew all 3 marks of the pocket, making sure to top stitch at the start and the end of your line of stitches to ensure the pockets are well attached and your stitches do not reopen. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the pocket a lovely finish. Lay one of your lining fabric pieces right side up and place the other lining piece on top, wrong side up, so that both right sides of the fabrics are touching each other. Align all the edges, then pin the sides and bottom of the bag together, leaving the square areas of the corners. Using chalk or a marker, mark a 20cm or 8-inch gap in the middle of the bottom of the lining. This gap is important for turning the pouch out at the end. Then stitch along the sides and the bottom of the bag, leaving the square areas of the corners and the marked lining gap. It is also very important to backstitch at the start and the end of each line of stitch to ensure your seams do not reopen later on. Once the seams have been sewn, cut off the excess slip pocket fabric. Then press them open with a hot iron. This will ensure that your corners and edges stay nice and flat and not bulky. Now we are going to sew the corners in the lining, just like we did for the exterior bag. I'm going to speed this along a little, but please refer back to the detailed steps before if needed. Once both corners are sewn, your lining bag should look like this. Turn the lining bag right side out. make sure the straps are pushed inside the exterior bag. Then place the lining bag inside the exterior bag so that both right sides of the bags are facing each other. Align the raw edges of the exterior and lining bags at the top, paying lots of attention to the joining seams. Pin these joining seams first. Carry on pinning around the rest of the bag. Sew around the top edge of the bag. I recommend removing the extension table and the accessory compartment from your sewing machine so the bag can fit around the machine arm easily. Once sewn, snip off the excess strap fabric. Reach into the gap in the lining and turn the bag right side out and poke out the corners with your fingers. Now we are going to close up the gap in the lining, fold the raw edges of the lining gap inwards, and either close with a hand stitch, or you can pin and sew the opening shut using a 0.3 centimetre or 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, so it will not be that noticeable. Push the lining back into the bag and push the corners into each other. Then press the top edges with a hot iron so they are nice and flat. Finally, top stitch around the top edge of the bag, 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch away from the edge. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the bag a lovely finish. A trick to get a neat 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch seam allowance is to change needle position to the far right, then use the edge of your standard sewing foot as a guide by keeping it in line with the top edge of the bag as you sew. Congratulations, your bag is now complete. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you are proud of your new bag. If you appreciate this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. To purchase the paper templates used in this tutorial, please follow the link in the description box below the video. The PDF pattern also includes a supplies list and a detailed step-by-step written tutorial with colour photographs. Your purchase helps support my business so I can keep creating more tutorials like this one. To see what other sewing tutorials and patterns I have on offer, head over to molco.co.uk